Hey, this is Jewel Taker from the Jewel Taker Show on Impact Network. Also, you can watch me and my family on The Tankers on Prime Amazon, or watch me and my sister's Chatter Talk show on Fox. So me and my girls, Dr. Dee Dee Freeman, Monique Eilert Mosley, Real Talk Kim, and Holly Carter, and you're watching Rudy Radio.
You're listening to Rudy Radio, powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. I'm Terra Renee from African American Women in Cinema organization, and this is Talk with Terra, a show that highlights fantastic filmmakers and artists and entertainers from all walks of life. We're committed to introducing to you individuals, organizations, and projects of which you're not necessarily aware, and we do this with the intention of uplifting, empowering, and enlightening you. If you can, please share this episode on all of your social media platforms. We also love it if you text your friends and ask them to tune in. Feel free to ask questions and make comments, and or share your thoughts at any point during the show. Today, I am super excited to have a wonderful and unique guest, a powerhouse in Hollywood who just rocks the camera. She is the cinematographer of all cinematographers. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome I will say my supernatural guest, Miss Michelle. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I'm great, Sarah. You're so sweet. Thank you for that intro. You're amazing. How are you?
I'm good. And so are you. I tell you, I'm in awe of you, Michelle, because, you know, in this whole shift of now what they're calling Black girl magic, it is interesting how we're seeing the women who look like me are finally coming to the forefront, being recognized for the years that they have been doing what they've been doing so well. And I am just in awe of it. How did you, or what drew you into media, period?
I think I was always into art. You know, I grew up going to the Studio Museum in Harlem. I was like a curator there, like right after high school. And then when I was a kid, you know, in like elementary school, my parents put me in a program with Bronx Museum of Art.
Oh, wow.
I was just always part of like the artistic community, always made friends with artists. And I always thought being an artist was like being a painter, but it wasn't until I was like in high school that I had a darkroom class and I was pretty good at photography and my teachers were very encouraging. And my dad also did photography. Like, you know, he would take black and white rolls of film and, you know, we'd go out and just take different photographs. And it was something that I didn't know growing up, but, you know, it was an instant connection to a camera. And by the time I got to college, I was on film sets and music video sets, and I was a PA, but I was always drawn to the lenses and to the cameras, and you know, that it was the thing that pulled me in, and I just felt a kinship. It just felt familiar. It felt familiar to me, it just drew me in.
Were they that's very intriguing. Were there any photographers that you were introduced to early on? And introduced doesn't necessarily mean physically, but maybe via book, their work. Any photographers that you really was drawn to early on?
I didn't know photographers by their name, but it was like some of their works, and it was or I knew artists who who they just greatly influenced me, or their work stood out to me, like Carol Walker type things, things that had like a profile like that. But it was like artwork that, you know, I think was a slap in the face kind of surprise. Kind of like, you know, when you're watching Belly and you see like the huge photographs, like those women of these beautiful Black figures, and finding out, oh, that's a real artist right there. And then, you know, you go in deeper and then you find out about like Gordon Parks and what is it, John Simmons, and like amazing photographers who they're photographing Black people bodies and children, and in all different types of ways. And I'm from the Bronx, so it's like I was always drawn to things that were beautiful, but still had like grit to it, and a little edge to it.
That sounds good. You know, it's interesting you brought up Gordon Parks. I had the unique opportunity to meet him into his believe late 80s, early 90s. And I mean, his work, phenomenal. And in the area where I met him, was at a program, someone shouted out that he had a 22-year-old girlfriend. I said, wow. But anyway. Anyway, the work. Hey,
go ahead, player.
The work was phenomenal, and he's truly a legend, and so grateful that he continues, or his work continued to inspire people of this day. And that's why I always tell people, just follow what you feel you've been called to do, because you truly will inspire generations to come. I definitely need to let the audience know that you were the cinematographer for the film that was nominated for 3 Oscars. If Beale Street could talk. Woo!
I wasn't
Go ahead,
the cinematographer. I was just on the camera team for that.
On the camera team. Yes. But how did that come to be? Oh, go ahead.
James Blackiston had just done Moonlight, and he was DP for that. And Moonlight was amazing, this iconic film, and they were, looking for their next project, and they were coming to New York for Beale Street. And I had friends in the camera department who were just like, people always kind of like think that being the DP is like the biggest thing, and it's an amazing opportunity, of course, but also you don't realize that the other positions in the department that create opportunities for other people who may not otherwise know. So it's just like a second AC is like everybody's best friend, because they're hiring the camera operators and the assistants and the day players and all that stuff. And I had a good girlfriend, Jan Burgess, who's from Boston. Just this amazing woman who was just like, she's so sweet, but so tough. And Jan called me and was just like, I've got this cool job I think you'd want to be on. You want to, like, let's love on each other. And I'm just like, okay, Jan, like, whatever you think. And I show up, and it's to set, and where it's, I have this huge Hawk lens, like a 200 to 450 zoom or something like that. And we've got to be on the staircase, and the shot is having the actors walk towards us and then walk down the staircase. And then when they get to a level on the staircase, they kind of stop and they like are romantic with each other. And it was like we had to zoom in, zoom out, and then slowly zoom back in and follow them down the stairs. Which, it sounds easy when you say it, but in action, it's so tough. And that was my very first shot on that job. And I was the focus puller for that. And Barry Jenkins came up to me. He was just like, "What is your name? You get that shot." And I'm like, "Thank you."
Wow, congratulations. Yeah. I mean, You're absolutely right. What looks like very, very easy on the screen, but behind the scenes, it's a whole different story. I had a friend of mine laughing because when I was in film school, I told him it took me 3 months to edit a 7-minute film. So, they don't understand what
it's
all
out of you. Yeah. It's just when you say something, you think it's that easy, but the execution can sometimes just like, it falls just short, and it's just like, and you got to really nail it. That's why we have multiple takes. Maybe you said it one way, but you can say it a better way, even though you got your lines right, even though you hit the marks, even though you did the movements correctly, everything. It's just like, it's a dance. It's really a dance between yourself and all of the talents coming together for that moment during the take, because the lighting has to be right. And then the sound and the mics have to be right. And the acting and the camera operator. And it's just like, it's all of these different things. It really, really is a dance. And a lot more people are part of that dance than are actually visible in your eye,
That is true. It's truly an orchestra.
Yeah, even better. Absolutely what it is.
So, what's the typical average time? Because a lot of people who are listening, they don't really understand the time that is put in each day to shoot a film. What's your average time?
I think a standard day is about 12 hours. But that's actually on set. I would say, maybe 14 hours if you include maybe the hour commute, let's say, or it's 30 minutes to an hour to get to set, to get to the location. But I've done 18-hour days on set, and if you add 2 hours, that's a 20-hour day. So my very first music video, it was 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And they used to be longer. I remember I had a lot of friends with their war stories who they would be on like a Bad Boy video, with Puffy going 40 hours. And
oh my
all
Lord.
they do is replace the crew. Like, they have another crew come in and let those guys rest, and then they keep going. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a little intense, or sometimes you're just doing those hours straight. So I wasn't part of that era of music video. 24 hours.
Woo! Well, we'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to Talk with Terra, presented by African American Women in Cinema, right here on Rudy Radio.
Confetti, international Formula One driver. I spent to get to Long Island Telecom before they closed. I need to get one of these fantastic deals that Long Island Telecom has, because you can't beat the price anywhere else. Oh, get away from that car. What are you doing? Freaking kids playing with the car out there. Anyway, I'm glad I got here. Wait, what do you mean you're closing? I gotta come back tomorrow? What's your number? 631-833-9679? Oh, stop writing me a ticket.
We're having a conversation with African American filmmakers. Join the African American Women in Cinema Filmmaker Series at the Clubhouse, presented by I Am the Color of Beautiful Global, every Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. IATSE on Clubhouse. Join us on the Clubhouse app for this inspiring conversation. Hosted by Karen Moore, founder of I Am the Color of Beautiful Global. Join us this Monday at 6 p.m. on the Clubhouse app for African American Women in Cinema's Filmmaker Series.
Hey, this is Jewel Taker from the Jewel Taker Show on Impact Network. Also, you can watch me and my family on The Tankers on Prime Amazon, or watch me and my sister's Chatter Talk show on Fox. So me and my girls, Dr. Dee Freeman, Monique Eilert Mosley, Real Talk Kim, and Holly Carter, and you're watching Rudy Radio.
Welcome back to Talk with Terra. I am Terra Renee of African American Women in Cinema, and today we are talking to Michell. Michell is a wonderful powerhouse in Hollywood who is the person who I just personally call the camera lady. But she's much more than that. Much more than that. Michell, before we went on break, we were talking about the time that it takes to shoot and 24 hours and 40 hours. Oh my Lord. I think after the interview, I might have to take a nap.
Every time I'm done with a job, I do absolutely nothing. I'm like a pound cake just sitting in my apartment. I don't do anything. I don't move. I'm just sleeping all the time.
I understand. Can you tell us what is the process like when you check out equipment for the film or the music video that you're working on? What's that process like?
Well, as a DP, what you're trying to do is figure out the tools that you need to accomplish the look that you want, right? So kind of get into that headspace. But as an assistant, one of the things that I would do is just make sure that I have everything, and then make sure that I have all the gear that the DPs requested, but then also making sure that all of it works, and then have a backup to that system. So if let's say we have wireless follow focus, I'm gonna have the wireless follow focus and make sure that system works, but then also have a manual like follow focus available, so that if for whatever reason that system goes down, I can plop like a manual one and be able to, pull from there, or what is it? Or if I'm operating, I come in and make sure that they have the support things that I would need to accomplish my shots. Like if I know that there's certain shots that would require a Dutch angle thing, and I would be part of like the prep with the DP to make sure that, when we're doing the scouts and stuff, making sure that, hey, if this is a shot you want, I would suggest like this piece of equipment to do that. Together with the grips to make sure that they have whatever pieces would be needed for that too, because they're part of electric and camera support. So it's different on the different levels, just what the goals are. But I think when you start with, at least starting as an assistant, you're making sure that you have everything that the DP requests, and then anything that you think they may need, So he says, if you know that we're going to be outdoors, but there's no filters on the order, I'm going to assume, I think we need filters, like an NPS or a rotopola and stuff like that, that enhance the look out, because, I'm in California, and this white background, that's how the sky looks sometimes if you don't have the proper filtration.
Yep.
It's
so true.
So it's all those things, but I was, there's different levels to it on the different rungs on the ladder in the camera department. But I think most of all, if you're just considering the source and know what you need, paying attention to that need, and being sensitive to that, it helps you be aware.
That's so true. That's so true. You know, when you talked about the filtration, it is true, because if Beale Street had a certain look to it, I love it. Some of my favorite filters are sepia. I love sepia. And I was also looking at Lord of the Rings, because some of their frames, the filtration looks very, very unique as well. Are there any specific filters you like?
Yeah. You know, I thought that recently I was on a project, this documentary, and we were using for subjects. It was the first time I've ever been on a documentary where they wanted the subjects to look like not your average documentary interviews, and we were really like photographing them in a way that it looked like a Vogue editorial comes to life, you know. And one of the things that the DP chose, he had worked with he was the main DP on Black is King. His name is Cambio, and I was just like, I want to work with this guy because he did things on Black is King. He also did Burial of Kojo, and he had done things, and his vision is kind of like on the more far out end of things, you know, like the way that he thinks is like, it's amazing. And I was just like, and I love meeting with artists like that. It's just like, it's just like you're everybody is really happy to just like experiment and have fun and see what looks good, you know, and really being patient and discovering the beauty of anything. And he used the star filter, and I never thought I would love a star filter, but like there were some subjects who had on jewelry that just the star filter made it pop. And I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. The 6-point star filter is a specific one, and it's not one many people carry. So the 6-point star filter, I think a Hollywood Black Magic, if you're shooting digital, you know, of course, ND filters, just because it helps the skin look creamy and everything too, but it just helps you keep everything visually, like with the light just balanced across the screen. And yeah, and I think for another one, I think is a smoke filter too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So those are some pretty cool ones, you know, that a bunch of people know about, and then some people that have never heard of it before either. But I think those are really fun and can add a really nice dimension to anything you shoot.
Okay, well, I just made my notes. Thank you so much, Michelle. So, can you just share some highlights, you know, with the audience of your journey?
I would say, you know, I've been doing this since I was about 21 years old. I've been in film. I've been studying film and just part of the film community since about 21 years old. And I was very scared at first. I'm not gonna lie. I was daunted by the task of being in a male-dominated field, a white male-dominated field, and being very intimidated by that, and being very aware of the fact that there's not a lot of people like me who look like me or act like me in these projects. And it took I used to be really shy. I used to be very, you know, close to the chest and felt like my voice didn't matter. But along the way, you know, I think with each experience, you know, you go from a place of being afraid because you're ignorant or don't know enough, to then each experience giving you, you know, knowledge and wisdom, and you know how to perform better for the next one.
There
and
you go.
once you know it, it's like, and it's kind of like what you were saying before. It's just like you just kind of find yourself in something, and once you stick to it, you find that you're coming out of your shell, and it's not that you're scared. It's just that you were afraid to maybe sound like you didn't know something. You know? And that fear turns into confidence and fearlessness, you know? And so one of the things I really encourage young women when they come up to me is just like, how do you deal with whatever? I'm always just like, just stick to it. Because the biggest thing that people try to do when they intimidate you is make you afraid, scared to come back. But when you do come back, and when you keep showing up, and when you keep just being there, people respect that, and they appreciate it, and they see strength in that. And it's like, you know, it's a freelancer's living, you know. It's not the easiest way to kind of get used to. It's not the way you come up at work as a kid. You think of a 9 to 5. You think of you know, Friday. You think of a certain type of life, and then you get into this, and it's not at all that. You have, you know, there's been years where I've worked for 6 months and I have off for 6 months. You know? And something like that would scare me. But then it's just like, you realize like this is just kind of the way it is sometimes, you know, and some years are going to be like that. And some years are going to be, you know, you're booked the entire year. So it's just trying to maintain the balance and really just sticking to it that I think will validate any experience you have.
I agree, you know, and you said some powerful keynote things there, you know, being able to move forward. That was the first initial thing that I picked up. And that is powerful, Michelle. That's a powerful key, because like you said, these type of experiences can happen to really try to force you to stand still and not move forward. But I have learned one of the most freeing mechanisms that exists is, you know, be okay with learning the lesson. That's fine. Okay, I made a mistake. I said that. I did that. Okay. Now I'm moving forward. I got the tools now. I didn't have the tools when I did it. That's why I did it. That's why I said it. And there's nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed about.
No regret. Just lessons.
That's it. That's it.
Regrets,
That's it.
Lessons. If there's no laws being broken, if nobody got hurt, what is there to regret? You just like learn your lesson, and you think about, you know, I'm very big. I don't know how many people do this. It feels like not enough, but what I like to do at the end of every day, at the end of every week, you know, is reflect and think about what I did that was good and how I can be better, what I did that was not so good and how I can improve, you know, and really being honest with yourself in that reflection, and making sure that, you know, the person that I'm seeing is an accurate, you know, sometimes we could be a little delusional about ourselves, you know.
It's okay.
We can be a little weird about that. Jeez, I don't know if you heard that. Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
But yeah, just it's just having an accurate knowledge of who you are and taking stock of that, and not ignoring the parts that need to be fixed, but really like setting a light on it and thinking like, okay, this is where I can improve as a creative, as a coworker, as a you know, a person just existing in this world. What can I do to be better at this? And I think that once you do that, you're just an overall better human being, you know? I agree. You know, I think that if we're all like just blissfully unaware of our effect, It can be something that it could be okay, but it can also do harm without us even realizing it. So I always try to make sure that, you know, I show respect on set to everybody.
There you go.
You know, because you never know who someone will be tomorrow. You know, that PA that you were just treating like dirt could be your job, you know?
Yep.
And why would you treat them that way? You know? So being part of the change in the industry, not just with my face, but also as a person and the culture of the industry as well, has always been really important to me. And knowing that I'm not a unicorn, you know, like there are other Black women who are in the camera, but we can also be kind, and we can also be, you know, nurturing and, you know, helpful to the people surrounding us on set, and hopefully to the viewers at home who can feel that.
You're right. You're right. And what you're describing, Michelle, to me is operating from a place of wholeness. And, you know, a lot of times, because we have not been taught, you know, deal with yourself. And if you can get yourself to a place where, you know, you can function, and I'm just really kind of just saying it plainly like that, but it's a process.
Right.
But like you're saying, you know, you do the reflections. That's all part of it. You know, we're not taught reflect, you know, or maybe I could have done that a little better, or maybe I could have said that a little, you know, kinder, you know. And I think that if we take note and do those types of exercise, it will lead us into a place of wholeness where we can spread more positivity. And like you said, because you don't know who is who. They may be a PA today, but tomorrow, executive producer. You know, it's just.
I've seen it.
Wow.
I've seen it. And I've seen people cringe because it's just like, oh my God, I made that guy feel like crap, and now he's terrorizing me on set. And it's just like, why did you treat them like crap? You know, and it's just ridiculous. And it's just like, you see people hurting themselves in the end when they think they have power over somebody, you know? It serves no purpose. And so I really try to be part of the culture of being supportive. And I know, you know, I'm from New York, and I got my start in film in New York. I'm in LA now. But when I first started, it was very, part of the intimidation was the fact that you had people who would actively treat you like know your place, you know?
Wow.
It wasn't because of race or gender. It was because this is your position. It's almost like a militaristic way of working. And know your place, and don't say anything, or don't be like, it was kind of weird. It was almost like, don't be human. Like, you have to have a sort of RoboCop approach to this. And it was just, there's precision that's involved in the job, but there's also, you know, humanity, I think, as well. And so every time I've shut myself down at work, it was just showing up to work. But every time I've been part of the creative process, or felt like they would like to hear my opinion, no matter what my position was on set, that if I shared something like, hey, do you think this would be good for the shot? Because I would see directors or DPs kind of like going crazy, like, what is not happening? And go for like 10 takes, 20 takes. Wow. Connecting. And I think I'll be like, well, why don't you do this? And then all of a sudden, that was the piece of the puzzle that was missing for them. And now we do 2 takes of that, and now we can move on, you know?
Wow.
So I try to develop those relationships so that it can feel safe to express ideas like that in an environment that is welcoming to those ideas.
And it's important. It's important because, Michelle, I believe that everybody, you know, it's like making a cake. There are ingredients, you know? So say, for example, I want to be bullheaded and say, no eggs, you're not showing up today. And I don't care what you say. What kind of cake am I going to have?
You messed up. That ain't a cake. Cement. It's gonna taste like cement, right?
So it's important. And I think that, certainly sharing this today, Michelle, is so encouraging and inspiring, because women, especially who look like us, need to understand their worth and their value, what they're bringing, and yes, the environment tell them they're not bringing anything, but they're bringing something. Right. And you are, God bless you, you are the witness to tell them they are. And we have to take another commercial break, but please don't forget to share this episode on social media. You're listening to Talk with Terra, powered by African American Women in Cinema, right here on Rudy Radio.
I'm Dan O'Shea, Executive Director for Maureen's Haven Homeless Outreach. It is our mission to support the homeless in our community. We provide an emergency winter shelter program, a day center, and support services to help the homeless in our community. With your help, we can continue to provide services so critically needed to the homeless in our community. Please visit www.maureen'shaven.org or call us at 631-727-683.
Welcome back to Talk with Terra. I am Terra Renee from African American Women in Cinema. And today we're talking to powerhouse Michelle, who is just giving us golden nuggets on the inside of the behind the scenes in shooting, whether it's film, music videos. Michelle, we just embrace you because you're letting us know the real deal, and you are empowering us with your insight of what you're sharing today. And for that, I say thank you very much. Are there any what they call, not idols, but anybody that really inspire you in the industry?
Oh my goodness. There's so many. I mean, when I first started, the thing that sort of got my attention was, I think, a music video. What was it? Take On Me?
Oh.
That's a music video. And it was like, when he comes out of the comic book and he's slamming between the walls and stuff.
Oh.
I used to watch music videos with such an obsession. And it was like that video. And I was like, I don't know, like 5 years old or something. But it made me like, I felt things, and I was so embarrassed that I felt things, and I ran to the bathroom and I cried, like,
really?
So my family would see me. I was just like, I don't want them to see me cry and laugh at me.
Wow.
And I ran to the bathroom and I wept. It
wow.
It scared me, but it made me happy at the same time. And I was just like, what is this that can affect your spirit like that,
Wow, that's a powerful question.
So it was just like, I was always just fascinated by what does it take to make a music video, and why does it sound exactly like my recording at home when I play it on the tape, or the radio has a kind of a different version, and it was like all of those things, like as a child, just trying to put the pieces together and figure out how it's made, and then so it was that it started with that, just the curiosity, and my mom, she took me, I always tell people this, when I was 8 years old, she took me to work. She was a publicist for New York Public Library.
Oh, wow.
I was so excited to go with mom to work. I was asking her all the questions, like, so what do you do now? And what do you do here? What do you do? And then I think like after 2 hours, I was just like, so what next, Mom? And she was just like, and she just had this look on her face like, oh my God, how am I going to entertain this kid for the rest of the day? And she was just like, that's it, honey. And I was like, Mom, are you happy here? She just she shrugged her shoulders, and I was just like, and I knew she was just putting a brave face, and like, and I promised myself, I knew that my mom was doing this work because she had kids. She wasn't happy with where she was professionally, and I don't know what it was, but I just knew that. I knew the spirit with which she was like really feeling this thing, and I knew that she wasn't fulfilled. And I was just like, and I connected that to being in a cubicle, being in an office environment. Wow. And I told myself at that age, I gotta figure out whatever I do for work, I gotta figure out how to not be in an office. And so that was really what I started to do from like 16 forward, just figure out what kind of job, but what, would be consistent, but also, not be bound to an office environment. And, I stumbled into film. I did photography in high school, but I didn't really think about it as seriously as a career, because even in high school with photography, I was just like, they don't care about someone like me. I knew about Annie Leibovitz. I knew about these photographers, but it was just like all white, and they was just like, I was just like, I would never, I don't want to be a broke artist. That was like my whole thing. And I stumbled into film, and I saw something that just felt at home with me. And so I just pushed forward in that. And it's just kind of funny how the things that you do, just trying to figure out your life. And then after a couple of years, like, people see you as, oh, this is who you are, and this is what you do. It's just like, I'm still here trying to figure it out, I was in that space for a very long time, up until the last 3 or 4 years. I've been doing this for 16 years now. But I would say maybe in the last like 3 to 5 years is when it starts to feel like I have my footing finally. Wow. So.
Can you talk about, because that's very, very interesting. I totally understand every perspective you're coming from, but how did you know that you found your footing? What was that all about?
Well, when I went to Brooklyn College, right? And all of my classmates, we all graduated, and everybody was saying that they wanted to do independent films, and we would support each other in our independent films. And there was no actual goal. It was just, let's make movies. It wasn't like, oh, let's make movies to put into a film festival or anything like that. It was like, let's just make stuff to make it. And I was just like, okay, I agree, but we have to have money to make stuff just for fun, either way. And
that's right.
I don't want to start from a place of lacking. I'd rather, be experienced and know the thing. Like, I really want to pursue the things that I don't know. So from very early on, I knew that part of that puzzle for me was to be in the union. I saw the union as being the standard. All the top jobs are union jobs. And if I want to be a top cinematographer, if I want to be the top person in camera. I have to be part of the union to accomplish that. And I don't want to struggle for several years and then come to that conclusion. I want to know, I know that now, so let me get to that now. And it took a couple of years to sort of figure out how the path to that would work. But I think that once I found myself, you know, I was working at a rental house. I turned down a really, like, at that point, a really, like, well-paying job to work on, like, the first season of Celebrity Apprentice. And that was when Donald Trump had his, like, he still had a reputation of being, like, a money guy in New York. He was not in politics like that. And I was offered a really, like, great position to be, like, the location manager. And at that point, that was making so much money. And I was just like, wow, this is a great opportunity. I don't know if Donald Trump is where that opportunity necessarily is right now. You know?
Wow.
And I ended up, instead of taking that great paying position, I took a $9 job working at a rental house as a prep tech, learning the gear, networking with people. And then eventually I got hired for a Super Bowl commercial with Pepsi.
Wow.
And it was my first union job. And I was just like, I was so grateful. And I was just like, I don't know what comes next, but this is a big deal. And this is the biggest deal ever. And so I think once I did that job, I was just like, I think I'm going to be okay in life.
That is wonderful. Wonderful. Was it hard, Michelle, outside of, you know, what you just described? Was it hard getting into the union? You know, some people were saying, well, I met the criteria, and I mainly hear this from people of color. I met the criteria and still there's an issue.
Well, the thing is that, you know, that saying, and it's so cliche, but it's so true, is it's all about who you know.
Well, yeah.
You can have all of the criteria, but if all of the people you have that criteria with are all of your friends, you don't have a network of colleagues who will hire you or call on you or drop your name in the hat for any other project that will vouch for you or say, oh, you need somebody, this is the person I think you would, like, be amazing with, you know? So if you only have your circle of friends, that's one thing. And it's not to say you can't do anything with just your circle, but you'll only go as far as your circle will allow.
That's interesting. You know? Yeah, I hear you.
So if you widen that circle, you know, then you have a lot of people in it who are part of the industry and who will basically say that person is great at their job. So the way that you do that, if you're a beginner, when I first started, I was a PA, and I was a terrible PA because I would leave my lockup. You know, they tell you to lock up a corner and don't let pedestrians pass by. But there were 8 of us PAs doing that at that intersection. And I'm like, why am I here telling people the attitude not to move or not to walk, and they're cursing me out and walking through anyway? I'm 5 feet tall. I can't stop anybody. Let me just go see what the camera guys are doing and harass them. So I would harass the camera guys, and then the ADs would be mad at me because they're just like, why do you keep leaving your lockup? Like, this is your job. I'm just like, I'm not trying to be an AD. Like, I don't care about this job at all. And they're just like, but they liked my honesty, so they kept hiring me anyways. And so one day I was harassing this one camera assistant. His name was Bob Ragazine. Guy. I was like, Bob, when are you gonna have me as your camera PA? And he was just like exasperated and was just like, I don't have the time to teach you the gear. You have to work at a rental house.
Oh.
And he said that, and I knew, like, he's like, that's what we all do. And so it took months for me to get that answer. No other camera person said that to me.
Wow.
And it is a thing that only camera people know about, that if you want to get into camera, you have to go through the rental house, because otherwise you probably are born knowing a lot of people in camera. But other than that, like, you're not gonna, because the rental house, working at a camera house is kind of like going to graduate school that you're getting paid to show up for. You know, it's like an apprenticeship. You go there, you learn the gear, you prepare camera packages for people, and you prepare camera packages for projects. So you know what a film what a camera package for a film would be versus a camera package for a commercial, you know, for a music video. You know, you see the differences, and there are slight differences between them, and see what they need. And then at the same time, you're networking with the assistants who would hire you. They know that you're working there as a prep tech to be in camera. You know, so it's a revolving door. It's a position that's made to be a revolving door. Wow. So I always encourage people, you don't need college if you're trying to get in camera. You just need a job at a rental house.
That is so good to know. You know, that's powerful, Michelle. And again, I find this inspiring, because it's what you know. If you know enough things that are that can serve as tools, it can definitely help move you forward. And I believe that's been a lot of hindrances, because a lot of us just plainly did not know. And like you said, it took you months to get that information, you know, and that shows that, you know, a lot of the information that we need, the tools that we need, is not readily available. And I keep telling people that. They think, oh, you can go this, you can do that, YouTube, Google. Yes, to a certain degree, but still, you know, there's still elements of hidden treasures.
And don't take no for an answer.
Go ahead.
When I applied for the rental house position, it just gave me a standard, oh, we're not hiring now, we're on a hiring freeze.
Wow.
You can't hire anybody. I applied for it, and then I didn't hear back from them for a year.
Wow.
And I called them after a year and was just like, hey, I applied. Here's an update to my application. Here's a resume to update my application. And okay, we gotta go on break.
All right. Well, we'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to Terra, powered by African American Women in Cinema, right here on Rudy Radio.
Hi, I'm Dan O'Shea, Executive Director for Maureen's Haven Homeless Outreach. It is our mission to support the homeless in our community. We provide an emergency winter shelter program, a day center, and support services to help the homeless in our community. With your help, we can continue to provide services so critically needed to the homeless in our community. Please visit www.maureen'shaven.org or call us at 631-727-683.
Welcome back. You're listening to Terra Renee. I am Terra Renee, Talk with Terra, powered by Rudy Radio. And today you're listening to Michelle, our wonderful guest, who's given us incredible insight on the behind the scenes. Michelle, what words of inspiration would you give to those who are interested in coming on board to be part of the camera department on the film or music video?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you just repeat that?
Oh, Rudy, can we start over?
Yes, we can. Let's do it over. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. You're listening to Rudy Radio, powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. I'm Terra Renee from African American Women in Cinema organization, and this is Talk with Terra. Today, our wonderful guest is Michelle. We were talking about the process of moving forward, and Michelle was just telling us her process in getting a job at a rental house. Michelle, you want to finish that for us?
Yeah. Okay. So, just with what I was saying before, and not taking no, you know, you're going to hear no's. You're going to hear people. You're going to come across people who are like, you know, you're not right for the job, all that stuff. Don't take no for an answer. And I know it's so cliche and it's so basic, but it's so real, because when I was trying to find a way into camera, you know, and that Bob Ragazine was just like, you got to work at the rental house. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's the first time I've ever heard that. I go to the rental house, and it's not even necessarily that they'll hire you, because it's just like, who are you? So it's still a thing of like, they have to get to know you. So I applied to the rental house, and I got the standard, like, we're on a hiring freeze. We can't hire anybody. Gave me their deal that you could tell that they told to 1,000 others. But then a year passed by, and I was thinking about that. I was just like, I have not heard back from these people. I'm like, you know what? They're going to tell me the same thing. Let me at least make myself known to them. So I called them. I acted real familiar, like, hey, remember me? I guess. And like, listen, I applied already. I know you're not hiring. I know what you're going to say. But here's my current resume, if it can help you. My application you have on file. And he's like, all right, whatever. The next day he called me and was just like, you must be lucky, because I actually have an opening today. Wow. And because I called him the day before and updated my resume was the only reason why he thought to call me, because that application that I updated went from the bottom of the stack all the way to the top.
Woo!
Wow. And that's why I'm saying, like, one of the best things that I've learned in recent years is not to internalize rejection. You know? It's not about me. It's not about my worth or my value. It's just a no for now. Right. It doesn't mean it's going to be a no later. That's right. And then while it's still no, let me show you who I am and let me get things done. It wasn't like I was sitting on my, twiddling my thumbs for a year before I got that job offer. It was me working and pushing myself and meeting everybody and becoming acquainted with people in the industry. And before I knew it, that network, that circle became bigger than I imagined it can be, and so now I'm not the quiet, nervous person on set. I'm the quiet, confident person on set who's paying attention and knows when to give constructive creativity to whichever partnership I'm a part of.
That is so awesome. Michelle, for those who would like to follow you on social media, do you have social media platforms that you can share?
I just love Instagram. I just love posting on stories on Instagram. And my Instagram is Clementine, Cinementine. And I just, you can find me, Michelle Clementine. I'm there on Instagram, on my stories for the most part, because it's just like that. I don't do the Twitter. I don't do the TikTok.
Facebook. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I hear you. What words of inspiration can you give those who definitely have a passion and a desire to get into the camera world as it relates to film and music videos?
I would say that I think especially now, with all of the different platforms available, the social media and digital landscape is completely different now than what it was from when I started. And I think that there's so much more opportunity now to be an independent artist and it be something that you can still make a living on, you know? It wasn't the case when I first started, but I think that now you have freedom to really do whatever you want. And I think that for anybody who is interested in this, if you just start shooting, if you just start making things, you'll see that you're gonna find somebody who likes it and somebody who wants to work with you. So, you know, even though I'm always telling people you don't need film school to be a filmmaker, you know? Yes, it can help you in certain instances, but it's not something you absolutely need, you know? If you're out here just trying to create, I know people who went to the top film schools and they call me and they ask for advice, you know?
Wow.
And it's just something that I really think if you stick with it and if you learn what works for you, because at the end of the day, it's an artistic medium. It's a creative medium where you're trying to show, you know, human nature, human behavior, and human reactions to emotional situations. And showing that from your perspective, whatever that perspective may be, you're always going to find somebody who can identify with that and be a fan of your work because of that. So I always think that there's room for people at the table. There's room for everyone at every table, you know? And you just have to make the one that works for you. So just keep shooting. Just keep shooting. Keep finding community. This really is a community. Just last Saturday, I had a get together with other Black women in camera.
Oh, wow.
You know, it was more than 5 of us, and now it's just like I was so happy because I would have never imagined these many like young women, you know, like doing their thing on camera and feeling like I'm part of this legacy.
Yes,
we're building, and so yeah. So just find community and just keep shooting. It's honestly just the thing that has worked for me.
Yeah, when people know that they can trust you, you know, you can certainly go the distance, and certainly having that good disposition, that is, I tell you, I heard a saying and I really believe it. Attitude determines altitude. And I really believe that. So having that, and I agree with you, if it's your passion, go forward. You know, we tend to go by what is the standard? What should we not do? What do we have to avoid? But like you said, just go forth. And that's what I believe, that's what the journey is all about. You're going forth and making these discoveries and understanding. And it is from there you begin to blossom. What type of cameras would you recommend? Or what is your favorite camera? Let's put it that way.
I mean, I love the Alexa. The Alexa, maybe the DLF, whatever. I just love the Alexa line of cameras because I think they're beautiful. But I also really do love the color science in Sony cameras. So whether it's the A7S or a Venice, I think that Sony has really come a long way in making very beautiful color science in their cameras. So there's that. But my favorite camera of all time is actually a film camera, and it's a 416. 50mm is some of the most beautiful images you can get on a screen.
Wow.
And it's just wonderful. So
wow. Well, that is awesome. Thank you so much for letting us know. Well, I don't know where the time went, but they're telling me that we have to go. Thank you so much for listening to Talk with Terra. I'm Terra Renee from the African American Women in Cinema organization. You can visit us at www.aawic.org. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Talk with Terra is made possible by Rangers Entertainment. Our creative director is Rudy J. Breedy. Please don't forget to like and share this episode with as many people as possible. We sincerely appreciate you joining us today and wish you continued peace, blessings, and prosperity. See you on the next episode.